Hello, welcome to PhysQuest. So in this video, we will discuss about the properties associated with gradient, divergence, curl and Laplacian operators. These are also called the vector identities. The purpose of discussing these identities is that if you are familiar with them, you can use them directly when necessary, and these identities can serve as shortcuts in solving the problems as well. Now before discussing the identities, I will discuss something which I forgot to mention in the previous video. In the previous video, we have discussed about the operators, the differential operators, that is gradient, divergence, curl and Laplacian, and their definition, mathematical expression and the geometrical interpretation of these operators. Now there are some special terms involving these divergence and curl operator. Now the special term means here is when these operators, when applied in certain situation and the expression goes to 0, what will happen in that case? So here our prime focus is divergence and curl operator. Now divergence and curl both are applied on vector field. So now divergence, the definition is that it means the spreading out from a source or converging to a sink. Its geometrical interpretation is that. Now when divergence of any vector field goes to 0, it is known as the solenoidal. It is termed as solenoidal. So it means, suppose A is a vector field, then the divergence of A is equal to 0 means vector A is solenoidal. So that means the field A has no source or sink. So this is about the divergence. Now let's talk about the curl. So curl means rotation. So whenever a vector field with 0 curl is known as irrotational. So if A is a vector field and the curl of vector A is 0, this implies vector A is irrotational. Now this is about divergence and curl. Now what is the meaning when gradient of a function is 0? Gradient always acts on scalar. See, there is no such special term is given when the gradient of a scalar field is 0. But we can say that whenever such situation arises, that means the scalar field is constant, or suppose if the gradient is applied to any surface, then we can say that the surface is flat. So these are some of the special terms associated with these operators. Now let's come to our main topic of the video, that is vector identity. Here we have discussed the vector identities for each of the differential operator. I have already prepared a video regarding gradient, divergence, curl and Laplacian operator, their definition and geometrical interpretation. I have put the link in the description box. You can watch it if you like. First let's talk about gradient. So gradient operator always acts on a scalar field, and its definition is this. So there are a set of properties related to gradient operator, related to actually in general any kind of vector quantity. So here we'll discuss about the gradient operator. The first property is the rule of addition, or the when gradient operator acting on the sum of the scalar field. So if we have two scalar fields phi and psi, then the gradient operator acting on sum of the two vector fields, that is gradient of phi plus psi, is equal to sum of the gradient of the field. That is, this will be equal to gradient of phi plus gradient of psi. So these are the sum of the gradient of these fields. So this kind of acts like a distribution property where the gradient operator is distributed among the two scalar fields. So this is the rule of addition. Second rule is the rule of product. Now under this category there are many set of rules. So the first rule is the product of scalar field with a constant. So suppose we have a scalar field phi and c as a constant. So when the constant is multiplied with the scalar field and the gradient is taken over that, then this will be gradient of c phi. This will be equal to, what will happen here is c, the constant c will come outside of the bracket and the gradient will act upon the constant. So what will happen here is, see, this will become c into gradient of phi. Next is the product of the two scalar fields. So here what will happen is, suppose we have two scalar fields phi and psi. So when both are multiplied and gradient operator acts on the product of these two scalar fields, so that is gradient of phi psi. This will be equal to, what will happen here is, while operating gradient operator on two fields, one will be kept as constant and gradient will act on the other and it is multiplied with that, plus the second term will be the other term, that is in the first term it will be gradient first of all will act on phi keeping psi as constant. So the first term will be psi multiplied with gradient of phi. Now in the second term will be phi is chosen as constant and gradient will act on psi. So second term will be plus phi gradient of psi. So this is how it acts when there are product of two scalar field. Now the third rule is the product of two vector fields. Now we know that the gradient always acts on the always operates on a scalar function. Now we know that dot product of two vector always gives a scalar. So suppose we have two vectors, vector field A and B. So their dot product will always be a scalar. A dot B is a scalar. So gradient when acts on A dot B, this will be equal to, so this will give the definition, the formula will be vector A cross del cross B plus vector B cross del cross A plus vector B dot del into A minus vector A dot del into B. So this is a bit lengthy formula. If time permits later, so I'll make a separate video in deriving this formula. But in this video I'll be able to do that. But this is the formula. Now these are the three rules which is related to the rule of product. The third rule is the rule of quotient or division. Now suppose we have two scalar fields phi and psi. So when one is divided by other and gradient operator acts on such type of term, what will be the result? So here in this case, suppose phi is divided by psi and gradient operator acts on it. So this will be gradient of phi by psi. This is equal to, again here this will be the result will be actually very much similar to the derivative, the regular derivative of terms taken when they are divided with one another. So this will be the similar kind of that. So here the result will be psi gradient of phi minus phi gradient of psi divided by psi square. As you can see here, this is very much similar to the formula of regular derivative which is taken, that is when this is taken and this is divided by the square of the denominator, and here the condition is this psi should not be equal to 0. This is the condition. So here we have discussed about the general rules related to gradient, that is when we are applied the general scalar field or vector field. Now we will discuss about what will be the situation when instead of these general fields we have involvement of position vector r. So let's discuss that. So this is the definition of gradient. Now we will discuss when position vector r is involved in case of the gradient operator. So first rule is, suppose we have a function phi r which is a scalar field as a function of position vector r. Now when gradient of such scalar field is taken which is a function of r, this will be give you the value of, this will be equal to phi prime r into r cap. Here r cap is the unit vector associated with the position vector and phi prime r is the first derivative of the scalar field phi r. Now this position vector, the r cap, that is the unit vector r cap, we can write as vector r divided by r. So this expression will be equal to phi prime r vector r divided by r. Now this formula can serve as a general formula to evaluate the gradient of any kind of function which is a function of position vector r. Now let us try this with choosing phi r as r to the power n. So the second formula, it can serve as a formula as well. So gradient of r to the power n. So according to this formula, this will be equal to, the first derivative of r to the power n will be n r to the power n minus 1. So this will be equal to n r to the power n minus 1 into r cap or vector r by r. So ultimately this will be equal to n r to the power n minus 2 into vector r. Now this expression, this gradient of r to the power n is equal to n r to the power n minus 2 into vector r. This expression can also serve as a general formula for different power of n in case of position vector r. Now, so let us suppose n is equal to 1. That means third rule is gradient of r. So when n is equal to 1 or gradient of r we are trying, so this will be equal to, if we put n is equal to 1, this expression will become r to the power 1 minus 1 into vector r divided by r, which is equal to r inverse vector r, and this is equal to simply vector r, simply unit vector r cap. So when gradient is operated on the position vector, on not exactly actually the position vector, gradient cannot act on vector, but gradient of r when is taken, this will give you the unit vector r cap. Here the value of r is equal to square root of x square plus y square plus z square. Remember that. And in case of vector r, as you know that it is I cap x plus j cap y plus k cap z. So here r means I am talking about the magnitude, and this is the unit vector. So now after this, let us suppose here you have calculated the gradient of any general function phi r. Suppose we will consider the higher order of such kind of function, that is gradient of phi to the power n. So here phi is a function of r. So in that scenario, this will give, the formula is, this will be equal to n phi to the power n minus 1 into gradient of phi. So this will be, here in both the cases, this phi and this gradient phi, in both the cases phi is always a function of r, remember that. So as you can see, this is very much similar to this kind of expression. Here this is n r to the power n minus 1 and here n phi to the power n minus 1 into gradient of phi. And gradient of phi formula is already given here. So using this formula you can try the higher order functions of r. So after this, next is, suppose, and I already said that gradient always acts on a scalar function. So scalar function can also be possible when suppose we have a position vector r and we have a constant vector c. So when dot product we will take, it will be a scalar quantity. So suppose gradient of will act on vector c dot r. So when gradient acts upon the dot product of the constant vector c and position vector r, this will simply, the expression will be simply termed out as the vector c itself. You can try it out. This is the constant vector c, and this is in place of vector r. You can put I cap x plus j cap y plus k cap z and take the dot product, and on the outcome try the gradient. You will get the vector c only. So these are some of the formula which are related to the gradient operator acting upon the position vector r, or any function related to the position vector r. Now we'll discuss about the divergence. Now let's talk about the divergence operator. So divergence operator always acts on a vector field, and its definition is this. So first of all, let's talk about the rule number 1, that is the rule of addition of two vector fields. So suppose if we have vector A and vector B are two vector fields, then when the divergence operator acts on the sum of the vector A plus vector B, this will give you divergence of vector A plus divergence of vector B. So this means divergence of sum of two vector field is equal to sum of the divergence of the vector fields. So here this is kind of a distribution property where the divergence operator is distributed upon the two vector fields. Then second rule is the product rule. Now again, product rule has many categories. So first is the product of vector field with a constant. So when we have a vector field A which is multiplied with a constant c, and then the divergence operator acts on such product. So divergence of c vector A, this will be equal to, see here again what will happen is, since it's a constant, the constant will come outside and divergence will act on directly vector A. So this will be equal to c into divergence of A. So this is the first rule. Then second product rule is product of the scalar field multiplied with a vector field. So suppose we have phi as a scalar field and A is a vector field, and when both are multiplied and then the divergence is taken, that is divergence of phi into vector A. So this will be equal to, what will happen here is, here first the divergence can only act on the vector quantity, not on the scalar quantity. So what will happen here is, the first term will be the divergence operator acts on vector A and then phi is multiplied with it. So the first term is phi into divergence of vector A. Then second term will be, now phi is a scalar quantity, so divergence operator is not possible in case of phi. So what will happen is, instead of divergence, gradient of phi is taken, along with that its dot product is taken with vector A. So second term is gradient of phi into vector A, or the dot product. So this is the second rule. This is scalar field multiplied with vector field. Now third is product of two vector fields. Now remember that divergence always acts on vector. Now two vector fields producing a vector field is only possible when a cross product is taken. Dot product will produce a scalar field, so it's not possible. So only possibility is the cross product of two vector fields. So suppose we have A and B are two vector fields. So divergence when acts on the cross product of the two vector fields A cross B. So this will be equal to, see here what will happen, you can see that the term is actually very much similar to a scalar triple product kind of a term, where that is A dot B cross C. So now the expression, this yields an expression like the first term will be, here we have one dot product and one cross product term. So what will happen here is this will be equal to the cross product of the del operator of this del operator with vector A and then its dot product with vector B. So this will be B dot del cross A, and minus the second term will be del operator, the cross product of del operator with the second vector, that is vector B. Then after that it is the dot product is taken with the first vector, that is vector A, that is vector A dot del cross B. So this is the expression for when divergence is taken for cross product of two vector fields. Now after this, third is the rule of quotient. So here rule of quotient is, now here rule of quotient is only possibility is the vector field is divided by a scalar field. So here if phi is the scalar field and A is the vector field, so the divergence, that is the division is, and its division is taken and divergence acts on it, this will be del dot vector A divided by phi. This will be equal to, this is very much similar to as we have discussed in case of gradient. Only case is, in case of gradient the divergence is replaced. So here it will be phi into del dot A minus gradient of phi dot A divided by phi square. So here as you can see in this case as well, see here, so here this is phi into, here there is multiplication of vector field with the scalar field, but here we have division. So the terms are similar, only thing is since it is division, there is a minus sign instead of plus, and divided by the square of the denominator as in case of a usual simple derivative is taken as we have seen. So this is the expression, and with the condition that phi should not be equal to 0. So these are the set of vector identities related to the divergence. These are the general identities I am talking about. Next is we have to discuss the divergence operator when acts on the position vector r. So let's discuss that. So next is our important identities based on the position vector r. So first is the divergence of position vector r. This will be equal to divergence, the del operator definition is, this is equal to I cap del pi del x plus j cap del pi del y plus k cap del pi del z, and dot vector r is I cap x plus j cap y plus k cap z. So this is what will happen here is when you take the dot product, this will be equal to del x by del x plus del y by del y plus del z by del z. All the terms will yield the result 1. So this will be equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. So when the dot product of divergence is taken with the position vector r, it will yield the answer 3. Now suppose we have a constant vector c and the position vector r. So when divergence is taken over the cross product of c dot the c cross r. Okay, so here del dot c cross r. So when the cross product of constant vector with position vector is taken and then the divergence operator acts on such type of operator, this will be equal to, as we have discussed in the previous slide about the formula of when we consider the product rule of divergence, that is the cross product of two vector fields is taken, using that formula, this will be equal to vector c, divergence will act on this first with this vector, the cross product of del operator with vector c and then the dot product with vector r. So this will be r dot del cross c, and the second term will be the del operator has to take the cross product with vector r and then the dot product with vector c. So this is minus c dot del cross r. So here this term, since it's a constant vector, so any differential operator acting on on this constant vector will yield the result 0. So this term will be 0, means the first term will be 0. So in the second term, here this del cross r is also equal to 0. That we will discuss in coming slide. So here curl of any position vector is always 0. So ultimately both the terms are 0, means the answer is 0 itself. So these are certain rules of divergence related to the position vector. Next we will discuss about the curl operation. So now discuss about the curl operation. So first rule is rule of addition. So when we have as I already said, curl operation is always acts on vector field. So when we have two vector fields A and B and the sum is taken, the addition of A and B is done, and the curl operation acts on the addition of the two vector fields, that is del cross A cross B. This will give the expression del cross A plus del cross B. So here, so the sum of the vector field, when curl operation is done, it produces the curl operation on individualistic vector field and the sum is taken. The sum of the curl is taken. So here basically again the distributive law acts on this operation. Next is the product rule. So the first product rule is product of vector field with a constant. So if we have a vector field A and a constant C, and when they are multiplied and the curl operation is taken on the product, that is del cross C into A, this will be equal to, again since C is a constant, it can be taken outside of the bracket and the curl operation directly operates on the vector A, that is C into del cross A. Second is product rule is product of a scalar field with a vector field. So here if we have a scalar field phi and a vector field A, so when the product of both of them is taken and curl operation acts on it, this will be del cross phi A. So here what will happen is, first the first term, there will be two terms here. So first term is phi is taken outside and the curl operation acts on the vector A, that is first term will be phi into del cross A, plus second term will be A cross gradient of phi, or actually it can be gradient of phi cross A. See, there is a mistake actually here. Here actually it will be gradient of phi cross A. Okay, so here in the second term, since phi is a scalar quantity, so curl cannot be taken on phi on a scalar quantity, so gradient of phi is taken and then the cross product is done with vector A. So now the third rule is the product of two vector fields. So if we have two vector fields A and B, now product of two vector field, producing a vector field is only possible when their cross product is taken. So if we have two vector fields A and B and their cross product is A cross B, and when curl operation acts on the cross product of A and B, that is del cross A cross B. So it's see, if you look at it here, this can be, it is very much similar to the vector triple product. So here this will produce the result A into del dot B minus del dot A into B plus B dot delta into A minus A dot delta into B. So it has four terms. Now in vector triple product, that is A cross B cross C, it produces two terms. This is very much similar, but since it has a del operator, So instead of 2 terms, it produces 4 terms. Now next is the rule of quotient. So rule of quotient is, of course, here when we have a scalar field phi and a vector field A, and when the vector field is divided by the scalar field, that is a vector A divided by phi, and when the curl operation acts on this division, it will give, that is del cross A by phi. This will be equal to, here this is, the formula is very much similar to as we have discussed in case of divergence. Only difference is, instead of dot product, here cross product will be done. That is, instead of divergence, curl operation will be performed here. So this will be phi into del cross A minus gradient of phi cross A divided by phi square. Condition is phi should not be equal to 0. So these are the general vector identities related to curl operation. Now let's talk about the identities based on the position vector R. So first identity is curl of position vector R. So when curl of position vector R is taken, it is always 0. You can check it. I'm not explaining it here, but if you check, del operator is I cap del by del x plus j cap del by del y plus k cap del by del z, and vector R is I cap x plus j cap y plus k cap z. So if you do the cross product, ultimately the answer will be equal to 0. So now next rule will be, again, once we know that the curl of this position vector is 0, now we will try some other function based on R. So suppose we have suppose consider any function of R, that is any other power of R multiplied with vector R. Let us suppose del cross R to the power n vector R multiplied with vector R. So here we have R to the power n is the scalar function. So, and here we have vector R. Now in the previous slide we have discussed the product rule, that is a product of a scalar field multiplied with a vector field. So if we apply the same rule here, this will be equal to R to the power n into del cross R. So del operator acts on call operation on this vector R multiplied with the scalar function R to the power n, plus second term will be gradient of R to the power n cross vector R. So the first term is del cross R will be equal to 0. So first term is 0. Now we will check the second term. Second term, see, gradient of R to the power n we have already discussed in previous slide, that is this n R to the power n minus 2 into vector R cross vector R, which is already present. So now the vector R from gradient of R to the power n cross vector R, which is already present, when the cross product is taken, this will be obviously equal to 0. So the final answer of del cross R to the power n vector R is equal to 0. So this is any, now here, so you can say that any power of R when multiplied with vector position vector R and the curl operation is taken, this will be equal to 0. So now this is about higher order, that is higher power of R. Now let us say consider any function of R. I'm not talking about the power, any kind of function of R. So suppose instead of R to the power n, let us put a general term phi R. So del cross phi R into vector R. So here we are trying to put a general formula. So when phi R into R is operated as with the curl, so this will give, if we put instead of R, if we put phi R here, so this will be equal to phi R into del cross R, plus second term will be gradient of phi R cross vector R. First term will be obviously 0 as del cross R is 0. Now gradient of phi R we have derived in case of the gradient part, that is this will be equal to phi prime R into vector R. So this will be phi prime R into vector R cross already we have vector r. So again our vector r cross vector r will be obviously equal to 0. So this identity will also be equal to 0. So whatever function of r you choose and multiply with vector r, so the product when operated with curl operation, this will obviously give you the value of 0. So next let us suppose choose if we have a constant vector c and we have a position vector r, and we take the cross product of the constant vector that is c cross r, and then we take the gradient the curl, that is del cross c cross r. So here we have already discussed about the formula related to del cross a cross b, that is formula for, that is the product rule of two vector field when their cross product is taken and the curl operation acts on it. So del cross a cross b formula, if we use here and finally calculate it, the value will be come out as this will be equal to 2 vector c. So these are some of the identities related to curl operation and as a function of vector r. So now we have discussed about this. Now let's move to the Laplacian part. So let's talk about the Laplacian. Laplacian operator is del square operator which always acts on a scalar field, and it has the definition this. So first is the rule of addition. Again here, if we have two vector fields phi and psi, and if we take a sum of the two scalar fields phi and psi, two scalar fields, and if we take a sum of them and apply the Laplacian operator, that is del square phi plus psi, this will be equal to del square phi plus del square psi. So again it is the sum of the Laplacian of phi and the Laplacian of psi. So similar to the other operator like that. Second is the rule of product. So in product rule, first is the product of scalar field with a constant. So here if phi is a scalar field and c is a constant, then the Laplacian of the product of phi and psi, that is del square c phi, which is equal to c into del square phi. Then the second rule is product of two scalar fields. So here if phi and psi are two scalar fields and we take the product of them, that is phi psi, and then we apply the Laplacian operator acting on the product of phi and psi, that is del square phi psi, this will be equal to phi psi del square phi plus gradient of phi into gradient of psi plus phi del square psi. So what is happening here is, you may be thinking that if we choose the normal operation like we did in divergence or curl, so del square operator first will act on one scalar function, will multiply it with other, and then it will be act on the second scalar function multiplied with the first. Why this middle term appears? So see here, instead of directly applying del square is actually what? It is actually the divergence of gradient of a scalar function. So if you do this in same way, that means if you do this as divergence of gradient of phi psi, so first we have to calculate the gradient of phi psi and then you take the divergence. This will, when you do this, apart from these two terms, this middle term, this gradient of phi into gradient of psi will appear. Okay. So these are the generic rules. Now we'll discuss about the identities based on the position vector r or any function related to r. So first is the Laplacian of r square. So we know that r square is actually x square plus y square plus z square. So here this is the general formula for Laplacian, and if we apply it, that is del square by del x square of r square, del square by del y square of r square, del square by del z square of r square. So here this we can write as del square by del x square of x square, del square by del y square of y square, del square by del z square of z square. So why I have written like this is because r square is the sum of x square plus y square plus z square. But in the first term, only x square term will be applicable, rest of the two terms will be 0. Here only y square term will be get differentiated, rest of the term will be 0. Here only z square term will be differentiated. So instead of r square I have written like this. So ultimately, so when in all the three terms, the first derivative will give you 2x, 2y, 2z, and the second derivative will give you 2, 2 and 2. So this will be equal to 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is equal to 6. So the Laplacian of r square will give you the value 6. Now let's find out what will be a generic formula for this, that is del square of r to the power n. Now here we have to do it in the way of, that is gradient of, so you have to find it like divergence of gradient of r to the power n. So if you do it that way, it will give you the final formula as n into n plus 1 r to the power n minus 2. So Laplacian of any power of r, that is any power r to the power n, will be n into n plus 1 into r to the power n minus 2. So you have got the generic formula. So for any power of r, you can calculate. So suppose if you put 2 here, so it will be equal to 2 into 2 plus 1 into r to the power 2 minus 2. R to the power 2 minus 2 means r to the power 0. So this term will be 1, and it will be 2 into 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 into 3 is 6, which we have got. Now let's check for any other power. Let us put r equal to r to the power minus 1, that is n. If we choose n equal to minus 1, so del square operator of 1 by r, so here n is minus 1. So if you put the value of n equal to minus 1 in the generic formula, this will be minus 1 into minus 1 plus 1 into r to the power minus 1 minus 2. So here minus 1 plus 1 will goes to 0, so that means this whole term will go to 0. Now apart from Laplacian, which is a square of del operator, there are some other identities which involve two or more del operators. So we'll discuss them one by one. First is the curl of gradient of a scalar function, that is del cross gradient of phi. Phi is a scalar function. So what will its value? So if you think carefully here, what this gradient of phi, what it represents? Gradient of phi represents, or gradient of any scalar function always represents the change of the direction of change of the quantity of, or the direction of change of the scalar function. So the direction of change when curl operation acts on it. Curl means what? Curl represents rotation. So now think carefully. Rotation of a direction. Both can't be possible together. So this means the value of the gradient of any function, the value of the curl of the gradient of any function will always be 0. So as we have discussed previously in the first slide, that when the curl of any function vector field is 0, it is known as irrotational. That means this gradient of any scalar function is always irrotational. Now let's come to the second rule, second point, the second identity. So second identity is del dot del cross A, divergence of curl of a vector field. Now again, try to understand this carefully. Del cross A, the curl of a vector field, it represents again the rotation of the field. So now let's talk about divergence. Divergence represents the spreading out of a vector. or shrinking off to a particular point, to a sink of a vector. So basically spreading out or shrinking in to a source or sink, like that it represents. Now rotation of a vector and spreading out of a vector. When a vector is rotating, it cannot spread out. So this means divergence of curl of any vector field is always 0. Again, divergence of any vector quantity is 0 means it is solenoidal. So curl of any vector field we can say is always solenoidal. Third, divergence of gradient of phi cross gradient of psi. So this is actually the divergence of cross product of gradient of two separate scalar function. So here this value will also be equal to zeros. Why? Because see, when we take the divergence of gradient of any scalar function, it gives you the Laplacian. But here what's happening here is we have two separate scalar function, that is phi and psi, and its gradient is taken. Now when the cross product of the gradient is taken, it shows a direction perpendicular to both the gradient functions. So when divergence is taken of that particular entity, that cross product, that means because of the perpendicular nature, when dot product is taken with del operator, it will always be equal to 0. Then comes del cross A, curl of a vector field. So now let's think about it carefully. See, curl of a vector field, that means curl is rotation. So curl of something is, it is rotation of rotation. So now here the best example you can think of is our solar system. So in our solar system, planets are moving around the sun, but the planets are also moving around or rotating around their own axis. So the planets rotating around own axis, while doing that also rotate around the sun, is the best example of curl of some function. So now mathematically this expression gives the value, or this expressed as del gradient of del dot A, gradient, that is gradient of divergence of A, minus del square A, that is Laplacian of A. So here today we have discussed all the different type of vector identities, the general identities, some identities related to the position vector r or any function related to r, and some identities which involve two or more del operators. So see you in the next video.